Well, thanks so much for tuning into the Market Wrap. I'm Niraj Shah Nickey Mirchandani, and it turned out to be yet another interesting day of trade. We were talking about it in the morning on the trade setup that the cues don't look negative, and unless the bank Nifty cracks, very difficult for the markets to really come off because Reliance, IT, etc. are not looking very expensive currently. But the bank Nifty is not cracking, and the markets are not doing that either. Bring up the Nifty for you and show you what moved and what didn't today. Reliance was active and that helped, of course. But the star of the show has to be Mahindra and Mahindra post results. The kind of commentary that they've given really helping the stock in the session today. I think the Q was the Morgan Stanley report 3 days ago, which kind of gave an idea of how Mahindra and Mahindra might be. But just really strong show put up by that one. Tata Motors participated as well. There was some strength for Shree Cement, JSW Steel, and Airtel bounced back today. But while Reliance is not a part of the top 10 list, the fact that Reliance participated helped the index in a meaningful way. What didn't do well, Britannia post results, a bit of a revenue miss, and that stock corrected. HUL came off a little bit, the defensive nature. And Divi's, I think it has to be on account of the fact that post the Newland Labs results, the stock had run up about 300, 400 rupees. So there's some bit of profit booking that happened today. But otherwise, the commentary from the management was rock solid. It is an expensive stock, which is what I warned in the morning on the trade setup, and maybe which is why the stock has not participated. But otherwise, the commentary was really strong. So all in all, not a day that the bulls can complain too much about. Nikki Johnson to talk about one individual name that stood out, or some individual names that stood out on the large cap space first. Nikki, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Niraj. I'm typically happy with the fact with the way market is going up and with the way bulls are actually riding on to this rally. But what typically has done well is the Mahindra and Mahindra. The stock has rallied 23% or probably more than that over the last 7 trading sessions. In fact, the stock today has risen more than 10% in trade. Nomura came up with a report early this morning, right after the results, and said that the target price has been revised to 1,165 rupees as compared to 925 earlier, which is indicative of 35% upside. Execution seems to be well on all the fronts, and there's the success of new SUV, share gains in LCV, and of course, the efficient capital allocation at play. Valuations also look to be pretty attractive to the brokerage right now, and they have reiterated the stock as the top pick in the entire space, which makes the stock even more special, especially for Nomura. On back of that, smart gains coming in for Nomura on a strong set of numbers. But what are you picking up in the mid-cap space, Niraj?
Well, interesting day of trade again at the broader end of the spectrum. You had some, actually, I think cement had a pretty interesting day in the session today. So you saw Shree Cement out there, Dalmia and some of the others went up. But this is showing the market breadth as well as the kind of moves that happen. And let's identify the key ones. So firstly, 338 stocks advancing to 162 stocks declining. A lot of you asked, what is it that I mutter when I say that MOV function on the terminal? So this is a function called MOV on the Bloomberg terminal, the screen of which you are seeing here. It shows you the winners and losers. Strength for NCC up about 20%. HEG and Graphite India moved up in the session today, so strong moves there. Bajaj Electrical sees no gravity, so really strong show there. Suprajit Engineering, cheap auto ancillary name, moving up about 9%. Remember, JM Financial recently came out with a report keeping a target of about 280, if I'm not wrong on that one. There's some strength in Adani Transmission, Schneider Electric, and a few others. So that did well. And the beauties, Team Lees and Quest Corp, they keep on rising 3 days on a trot after the Goldman Sachs note. What didn't do well, India Intermesh, I don't know if it had to do with the promoter being booked for selling some stones online or what have you. That is the rumor doing the rounds. BHEL had a very terrible day, and Sumitomo Chemicals after the numbers, 1 day after the numbers getting digested, corrected on 3% as well. So lots of stocks moving around on news. TTS, Nikki, what stood out, what did not? Are Graphite India and HEG a part of your list?
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying that this time around, I was not the one who spoke about cement stocks because they have been clearly on an uptrend. And yeah, Dalmia Bharat over the weekend came up with a good set of numbers. And of course, there will be a slew of numbers that you'd see in this week, at least when the broader, from the broader space. But yes, HEG and Graphite India, the electrode makers have been doing too well. If you look at the rally that we've seen in the last 4-5 trading sessions, it's a smart up move there. Graphite India is going to be reporting in numbers on 11th Feb. And in the last 5 or 6 trading sessions, the stock has rallied more than 18 to 20 odd percent. So clearly some smart gains there. NCC. Now that's one counter, which I think most of us would have noticed that the stock has rallied around 60 to 65%. over the span of 10 odd days, and that's some crazy moves out there. Junjunwana and family, do remember the fact that the family already has picked up 12.8% stake in the counter, so they have been increasing their stake sequentially. If you look at the trend which has been playing out, of course, sometime back, Neeraj, we spoke to the management. They said that there were some receivables which were due in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and they are probably hopeful that there would be some recovery coming in from those pockets as well in Q3. So definitely all eyes on NCC. And just like how you highlighted, Team Lee Services has risen for fourth consecutive session right after Goldman Sachs has initiated a buy rating on the entire staffing firms. And at this point of time, they have a buy rating with a target price of around 4,940. Overall, they expect India's flexi staffing industry to witness a double-digit revenue growth. So clearly, on back of that, you seeing these gains coming in. But any specific stock or counter, as a whole, that you are, witnessing a sharp up move or probably will be on your list right now?
I think it'll be interesting to look at the pharma pack this week, Nikki. The dealers suggest that fair degree of HNI activity in some of the pharma names last week when there were blocks being sold. It'll be interesting to see if some of these work up. Today, it's not been the best of starts for pharma, considering that the poster boy of APIs, DVs, actually didn't do well post numbers. But I think it'll be interesting to see over the next 2 or 3 days what happens there. For now, banking still continues to rule the roost. Let's wait and watch. There's also interest, of course, on Bharti Airtel, considering MSI rebalancing around the corner. So 2 or 3 names that everybody will be watching out for. And somebody will be keeping a keen eye out on the globe as well, right? Because it's not just our markets. I think the global markets too seem to be doing okay. What is the global cues telling you, Nikki?
Yeah, before that, I think I'd highlight Tata Steel. Tata Steel will be coming up with numbers tomorrow. And Neeraj, all of them, be it SAIL, be it JSPL, be it JSW Steel, they all have recorded multi-quarter high EBITDA per ton performance. So we're expecting the same continuing even from Tata Steel. And you can see some amount of action probably building in for this counter. But at this point of time, looks like the normalcy is around the corner. The last time I checked, European markets were trading in green. US stock futures were indicated of a positive start. Looks like there's also this hopes of the entire stimulus building in, which probably is doing some bit of favor at least to global markets at this point of time. Of course, a little flatness, but overall the trend seems to be pretty much a positive undertone out there, be it also for US stock futures, which are indicative of a positive start coming in for the Wall Street. But this is all that we have for you at this point of time. Thank you, viewers, so much for logging in.